All right, let's jump right in. Today we're going to talk about something really fascinating, a concept that blends sanitation, energy, and economics. It's all about how big institutions can take one of their biggest headaches and turn it into one of their most valuable resources.
So let me just start with this question. What if the very thing that costs an institution a ton of money to manage and get rid of, I'm talking about waste, could actually be used to power its operations and, save them a bunch of cash? It sounds a little bit like magic, but I promise you it's all based on some really clever science.
First things first, we've got to understand the scale of the problem. For a lot of large institutions, the day-to-day grind creates this massive and honestly often overlooked wasted opportunity.
I mean, think about places with a lot of people packed into one spot. We're talking prisons, schools, big university dorms. They're constantly fighting a battle on two fronts. First, they generate a huge amount of waste, especially human waste, that's expensive to deal with. And second, they have these massive energy bills for cooking and heating, often relying on fuels that are only getting more expensive. It's just a constant drain on their resources.
But what if you could connect those two problems? What if you could make them, solve each other? This is where this really cool idea of power from people comes into play.
The solution has a name: institutional biogas. The easiest way to think about it is like creating a mini power plant right there on site, one that's fueled by the institution's own waste. So instead of hauling all that waste away, you treat it right where it's made, inside a big sealed tank called a digester. And this process, it doesn't just get rid of the waste, it creates something incredibly valuable out of it.
Okay, so how does this whole thing actually work? Well, you can see here, it really boils down to 4 main steps. First up, it's step 1, all the waste gets collected. You've got the human waste, and it's often mixed with other organic stuff like kitchen scraps to really get things going. Then for step 2, that mixture is fed into the digester. Inside, with no oxygen, these tiny microorganisms just go to town, breaking it all down. That's called anaerobic digestion. And as they do their thing, this is step 3, they release a flammable gas that's rich in methane. That's the biogas, and it gets captured. And finally, step 4, what's left behind isn't waste anymore. It's this nutrient-rich sludge that makes for an amazing fertilizer. See? It's a completely closed loop.
And that right there, that's the real magic of this whole system. We're talking about the on-site payoff. The benefits aren't theoretical. They're immediate, and they're very, very real.
So what's the number one benefit? Well, it's pretty simple. You are creating usable energy right at the source. There's no transportation needed, no complicated supply chains, just a direct conversion of something you wanted to get rid of into power for cooking, for lighting, or for heating water.
And this isn't just theory. We're talking about real money. Get this, the International Committee of the Red Cross has run some of these projects in prisons. In some of their sites in Rwanda, they were saving up to $53 per day just on firewood costs. Now think about that. You scale that over a year, and the savings are absolutely massive.
So you're really getting this amazing 3-for-1 deal here. First, you get clean energy right where you need it. Second, you save a ton of money on both fuel and waste disposal. And third, you get this valuable resource, that fertilizer, that can be used for growing food or just for landscaping. You're literally turning one liability into 3 separate assets.
Okay, so you're probably thinking, if this technology is so amazing, why isn't it everywhere? Well, like with any big innovation, there are some pretty significant real-world hurdles you've got to clear first.
The biggest barrier, a lot of the time, just comes down to the financial equation. Look, these systems have a pretty high upfront capital cost. Building a big digester takes a serious investment, and that can be really tough for a lot of institutions to pull together. Even though the long-term savings are huge, that initial sticker shock is a major stumbling block.
And it's not just about the money. These systems aren't exactly set it and forget it. They need skilled people to run them and keep them maintained. They can get clogged up with things like sand or just solid trash that people flush, and that can mess up the whole process. Plus, to keep that gas flowing, you have to feed the digester a steady diet of organic waste, and that takes some pretty careful management.
And then there's the competition. In a lot of places, governments make other fuels like LPG super cheap through subsidies. So when an institution is weighing its options, well, you can see the dilemma right here on the chart. The cost of that subsidized gas is really low, while the upfront investment for biogas is sky high. Even if biogas is the smarter choice for the long run, the short-term economics can be pretty hard to argue with.
Finally, there's a hurdle that's, it's a bit more personal. Let me just ask you this directly. Would you be comfortable cooking your food with gas that was produced from human waste?
Now, the gas itself is just clean methane, but there can be these really strong cultural taboos or just a general ick factor. And that social barrier has been a real challenge in projects from India all the way to Peru.
So when you add all of this up, the money, the technical side, the social stuff, you start to realize that getting over these hurdles isn't just about building better technology. It's about getting the entire circular equation right.
And nothing shows this better than comparing these two real-world projects. In Lusaka, Zambia, a plan to sell biogas to tenants totally flopped. Why? Because of policy issues. The tenants couldn't get permission from their landlords. The tech was fine. The system around it was broken. Now contrast that with a project in Trichy, India. There, you had a public-private partnership where the city actually kicked in the land and funding. And the result? A successful project that now serves a community kitchen. The difference wasn't the digester. It was the policy, the partnership, and the government support.
And that's really the bigger picture here. Institutional biogas isn't just a clever waste management trick. It's a perfect little example of a much grander idea, the circular economy. This is a system that's designed to eliminate waste entirely by turning the outputs from one process into the inputs for another. The whole idea is that nothing, absolutely nothing, is wasted.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big question to chew on. We know the technology to turn waste into a resource exists. It's here. So is the technology really the barrier to a more sustainable world? Or is it our financial models, our policies, and maybe at the end of the day, just our own mindset about what we consider waste in the first place?